Hi everyone, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you today on Tuesday, October 1st with my Technique Tuesday class for this week. Now, as you can hear, I'm still very croaky, so I'm actually going to try and get through this video as quickly as I can. I'm going to try not to talk too fast, but I'm probably not going to talk for as long as what I would normally be talking for today. So, and I've got my water on hand just in case I start having some crazy coughing fit, because would you believe I still have this crazy voice. So for those of you that have been following along at home, I had a strep throat infection and a virus a couple of weeks ago, and really was surprised at how long I actually ended up staying crook for. And here we are. We are doing Technique Tuesday. So I've got Emily here. Hi, Emily. Hi, Rose. It's great to see you guys online today. I'm actually working a week behind. So this was our challenge that I posted 2 weeks ago. And I was really bummed that I was not well enough to do the Technique Tuesday class that day, because this particular card kit that I'm sharing with you today, the Boho Beach kit, actually became unavailable. It sold out about 2 days after I posted our scrapbooking page on the Monday, which was a little bit of a bummer. So I am really bummed about that, because you can't purchase this now. But I think that, well, I know that the technique I'm going to be sharing with you today, you will be able to use that on other scrapbooking layouts. And the concept of being able to take a card making kit from the kids collection and convert it into a scrapbooking layout is still very much alive and well, right? And the really cool thing about me sharing this with you today is that the kids collections are currently up to 30% off on my website. So this went live today, and if you're not familiar with a kids collection, this is the Boho Beach kit collection that I ordered to make the scrapbooking layout with. Now, the kits actually vary in both design, style, and also pricing. So the really cool thing, though, is that regardless of how much your kit is going to cost and what project you're going to create, every kit comes with one of these printed colored instructional guides. And so you can see that I've got a step-by-step how-to on how to create the first card and also the second card as well. So these are really easy to follow. There is a QR code on the back as well, so you can learn about more techniques for stamping and creating kits. It shows you the component of the kit that you've purchased, and then it also outlines the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors that have been used in this kit. Now, this is really helpful if you are going to do what I've done here, and where I've actually taken these two cards and converted them onto the scrapbooking layout. That's going to be helpful for you to coordinate your Stampin' Up! Colors, because this is how I've been able to determine what cardstock I'm going to use on my scrapbooking layout. So I love that. It makes it really easy to coordinate my product. Now, every kit's going to come with different contents depending on which kit you invest in. This particular kit had stamping. So it came with a stamping spot, the stamp, and then it came with a block that I could use to do my stamping. It came with some foam embellishments. So this is your Stampin' Dimensionals, not embellishments, sorry, Stampin' Dimensionals, so your foam squares. And it comes with some little adhesive circles as well. This one came with some twine. And then it came with, I'm not actually going to pull this out because I've actually packaged this all back in together, but it came with my card bases, and it came with the envelopes and then all of the different die cuts as well. So all I had to do was punch them out. You can see the card designs I have left here. So what I did was I created, I'll pop these things back in my kit here. I love this stamp set, so cute. I don't want to tell you how much I love it because you can't get it now, which is really sad. So I'm so sorry about that. But you can see that I've been able to finish up with my end result here with my card. So just beautiful. So I've created one of each of the cards that came in the kit. And then what I did, I'm just going to pop that aside. And then what I did was I actually took the design from the card. So let's bring this up as a close-up. Okay, so I took the design from the card front, and then I've just transferred that onto my scrapbooking page, and I've used that as my embellishment cluster. Okay, so I loved these colors. There's not really any sort of beachy vibe type products at the moment available in the annual catalog or as paper packs at the moment. So the really cool thing I love about this, for the price of the kits, like you're looking at $25 to $44 for a kit collection. Now, this month, the kits are up to 30% off. So be sure to jump on my website. I will post links in the comments afterwards to all of the products that I'm sharing with you today. For the cost of $44 for me to use these products and then transfer them onto a scrapbook page and bulk it up with some coordinating cardstock and pattern paper. Sometimes if you can't find the product that you need for the project that you want to create, don't write off the option of investing in one of the kit collections and using them for this purpose. You can see where I've actually then taken the embellishments from my card here, and I've just recreated that here on my scrapbooking layout. And then instead of stamping the sit back and relax, I've used an old close to my heart stamp set. So I am allowed to share this with you because I'm in my transition phase. This one was called the Modern Typewriter Alphabet. So this was a really cute little mini stamp set where I could use to stamp my titles. I love that. It looks really rustic. And I used 2 of them to stamp my title. And I've just popped them up with some 3D foam tape. Okay. On this side here, instead of stamping the Enjoy Your Day, I stamped the Sit Back and Relax sentiment from the other card because I thought that was more suitable for the photos on my scrapbook layout. So the photos that I'm sharing with you today are from a family holiday that we took in 2022. We took a trip to Bali and we spent the day at a beach club in Uluwatu, which is south on the island of Bali. It's called Sundays, and we went VIP style. And check this out, guys. There's these 4 like beach huts on the sand, and you can actually rent one of the beach huts or the cabanas. You can rent them for the day. This was our cabana just here. And it had our own private like restroom and showering facilities. We had a butler for the day. We had these gorgeous beds set up on the sand. We were able to order food and drinks and sit and have a beautiful meal and some drinks. This photo here, I love this. So sometimes my customers really struggle with putting 2x2 inch photos on their scrapbook page, but check this out. I absolutely love this. I don't know if you can see, but in the photo here, so the beach itself is on a cliffside, and you have to take this tiny little elevator down the cliff. So as we were coming down the cliff, we had this stunning view over the beach. It was absolutely amazing. I do have more photos from this particular day, but these were the ones that I chose to print and scrapbook. I actually hadn't even noticed. I cut this photo down because I just love the shape of the beach huts. This was where the main restaurant and dining area was, and the bar. So this was separate to where we sat here on the beach. But just in a little distance, it wasn't actually until I cut this photo down into 2x2. I wanted to get the vibe of the buildings here because it's just so Balinese, right? It wasn't until I cut that down that you could see that tiny little elevator coming down the cliff. So when it came to do my journaling, I've actually journaled here. Where did I put it down here? Okay, so I put the staff and all the facilities are amazing. The elevator ride down the cliff had incredible views. So I just love that because you don't see that. You actually come down the elevator in between these 2 mountains here. So don't be afraid to crop your photos down 2x2. You can see here that I've got some food photos here, so that's always fun to do. And I've actually put a little flip flap on the top of my scrapbook layout here. So I'm just going to slide my page into my memory protector so you can see what this looks like. Now, I will say that the 2x2 inch flip flap is not a product that's going to be carried over by Stampin' Up. So the 2x2 inch flip flap actually retired from the Close to My Heart range last year before we started our new catalogue. And so this is not going to be a size flip flap that carries over. I just happen to have some of these still in my private stock. So you can see here where I've cut my photo down. I've got the gorgeous menus and table decor, and then we've got some of the dishes that we had to eat. So don't be afraid to cut your photos down into 2x2. So you're really kind of just focusing and honing in on those types of images, because I do love to add those types of images to my scrapbook layouts because it does really help to add to the story behind your photos. So the technique that I'm going to share with you today is using this Shimmery embossing paste. I just love it. I haven't added any ink colors to the embossing paste at all. It's got glitter inside it, so you can see here that it shimmers. You do want to be doing your texture paste first on the base of your scrapbook page and then set it aside to dry. So then you can put your papers and your photos down afterwards. So before I go into the technique, I want to share the layout that we did. This is pattern number 18. It's on pages 40 and 41 from your Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book. And you can see I've got 2 portrait photos, some 3x3s, a landscape photo, and then these little 2x2 inch photos. So I really love this layout. And you can see in the book here, I've created my page to look like this. And actually where I got the idea to use the texture paste, one of my fellow Close to My Heart colleagues actually used this, and she did the same. She actually took the cards from the Boho Beach kit and she recreated a scrapbooking layout, but she used the shimmering texture paste to kind of make like sort of a sandy beach look on her layout. And I'd ordered it some time ago, like I'm talking back in July. And then when I got to making this layout and I wanted to use the kit, I could see here in my layout that this is where I've taken the idea from to use the stenciling around the outside of my page here. So this I think is just plain ink, or they might have colored the texture paste. So I have used texture paste before, but it's been just a plain texture paste, whereas this is actually shimmery. So I'm going to pull this out, the shimmery embossing texture paste, and I want to say it's $17.50 off the top of my head. I will put links to the products in the comments below. So you want to avoid contact with your eyes, with your mouth. There is a little warning symbol on there as well. It comes in a little plastic bag as well. So it's not, if you order this online, it's not going to end up all through your order. You've got your shimmering paste in here, which I just love. And it smells amazing. I know I'm crazy when I open a fresh paper pack. I love to smell it. I love the smell of fresh paper, right? That's why I craft, okay? I know it's weird, but it's just one of those things. So what I'm going to show you today is how you use this embossing paste on your scrapbook layouts, and then how you can change the color of it as well to be able to coordinate with any of your scrapbooking colors. So I have used the card base here. So I've cut my paper down and I've used the card base through here of one of the cards, and then I cut my card base down and I've used that through here. I coordinated my paper up with Pool Party, and then here and here I've actually used a paper pack from the annual catalogue, and this is the designer series paper in Country Woods. So I was really inspired to coordinate that with my Boho Beach kit, because the colors that coordinate with Country Woods were actually in the instructional guide on my Boho Beach kit that I shared with you before, okay? So I've actually cut down some of the Country Woods paper, and you can see I've got this beautiful textured paper running through here, which I think really does complement the texture, wood, and pebbles that are here in my photos, okay? So I just love that you can coordinate all the different Stampin' Up products together, and there's really fun things that you can do with them. So don't be afraid to try something new or different. Now I've got some scrap paper here, so when I'm doing my texture paste, I want to make sure I've got some scrap paper down on my base here. And when you are using your texture paste, you want to make sure you've got some palette knives. So you will find the palette knives in your annual catalogue. I will post a link to this here. So in your annual catalogue on pages 126 and 127, you've got a whole heap here of crafting techniques in the back of the catalogue, and this is purely based on texture. So with these products here, you can add more layers and dimension to your paper crafts by using these different embossing techniques. So they run through some different inks. They run through embossing powders, so you will need an embossing heat tool. And what that does is it solidifies the embossing powder when you use your Versamark inks. What I've done here is used the embossing paste. Now there is a matte finish paste, which I've worked with before, but I had never worked with a shimmery embossing paste before. So I just could not wait to get my hands on a set of those. Now, when you are doing your embossing paste, you do also need a set of these palette knives. So they come in a 3 set here for $8.75. And then you also need to make sure you've got this silicone craft sheet. Now, I had some palette knives already from when I transferred over from Close to My Heart. So mine are black. However, you can buy a 3 set of white palette knives for $8.75. And then you're going to want to grab one of these silicone craft sheets. These retail for $11.50. But you're going to use your silicone craft sheet if you are going to mix your embossing paste with inks. And I'm going to show you how to do that today, okay? You may have already had a all-purpose mat before you came across from Close to My Heart with me. The silicone craft mat has some different uses. So whilst I already had the all-purpose mat, I definitely could see that I would make use of the silicone craft mat because there are some other techniques that you can do using some other product, and you'll need your silicone craft sheet for that, okay? So I will be sure to share them with you at a later date because there are so many different things that I could teach you, and I just can't share it with you all at once, right? Now, you're going to want to make sure that you are using, I've actually just got some scrap paper here that I'm going to use today to demonstrate the texture paste. You can see here that I've done some blending with a blending brush and an ink pad on here. So I'm actually going to put the texture paste over the top of this because I think that would look really cool. And then I'm also going to put the texture paste just on the plain white cardstock, and you can really see that shimmering standing out. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your favorite stencil or your decorative mask. Now, this was a stencil that I already had from before I transitioned over to Stampin' Up. So I have used, this is actually a card front stencil. Let me turn this over and then I'll put it on here so you can see that a little bit better. So you can see here that I've got 3 different patterns of my stencil through here. You can go onto my website, and if you just use the search function, if you were to type in the word stencil, then all of the different types of stencils that Stampin' Up have to offer are going to come up, all right? That's all you need to do. So I'm going to put my stencil over the top. We're going to start by doing the embossing texture paste on here. Now, you could get some masking tape or some washi tape. I have got some masking tape just here. So I'm going to grab that and I'm just going to peel a little bit of the tape off. When I did my scrapbooking layout, I actually didn't I didn't stick that down with the masking tape. I just held it in place because the really fun thing with using texture paste, I want to make that clear, is it doesn't need to be perfect. It's meant to look rustic and fun and distressed, okay? So I don't want you to get too bogged down in making sure that yours looks perfect. As you can see here, I've ended up with a little bit of the shimmering paste there. I haven't filled all of the holes here on this side as well. Here I've put some underneath my photo on the edges here. This here I've used as a backdrop. So I've done all of that texture paste under there, and then I've actually stuck my embellishments and my title over the top, okay? So it just adds as a little bit of an extra embellishment feature, and it's also really fun to do. So I'm just going to hold that in place today so I can use both of my hands while I'm demonstrating with you how we're going there, girls. So I'm going to grab my texture paste out, my embossing paste, and it doesn't really matter which one of the palette knives you use because this stencil is quite small. I'm probably going to go for a smaller palette knife, and all I'm going to do is just take a little bit of that texture paste out, okay, and I'm just going to spread that over the top of my stencil, okay. And so as I mentioned before, it doesn't have to be perfect. Look at that, just spread out. I love it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can look rustic. If you don't get all of the bits filled, it's not going to be the end of the world. So I'm just going to pop that over the top of my stencil. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to be careful here to try not to get on those dots. I'm then going to peel my masking tape off just to remove that from the paper and the stencil, and then we'll lift that up and you can have a close-up look at that there. Oh, so yes, with the masking tape you want to be careful, because if you tear that off too hard, you're going to tear your cardstock. I probably would be more inclined to use, I'm just going to grab my tweezers, I probably would be more inclined to use washi tape over the masking tape. I just happen to have the masking tape at hand. How cool does that look, guys? I love that. That actually was just a fluke that I already had that bit of cardstock here as a scrap. And you can see that it's actually quite raised. So when that dries and I run my hand over this, you can feel that textured look. So I do really love that. I left that to dry, and then I've used some white gel pens just to draw a border at 1/4 of an inch around the outsides of my scrapbooking page. And then I've ruled some lines here at 1/4 of an inch in this space here. And I've done my journaling in the white gel pens as well. So isn't that fun? I love that. I think I'm just going to do that on the blue because you can see that really well. Now let's talk about colouring your embossing paste, okay? So I've got my silicone mat here. Now, there are a couple of things that I can do here. First of all, I'm just going to grab a little bit out just so I can show you this particular technique. Now, with all of the Stampin' Up! Colours, let me grab my catalogue here. With all of the Stampin' Up! Colours, I'm just going to turn to the back of the catalogue and let's have a look here. I'm going to come to... it doesn't really matter what color. Oh, I want to show you Pool Party. Okay, here we go here. So if we look at the color palette here, this is in the Subtles color collection. And as you can see, there's 10 colors in this color collection. One of them is Pool Party. So I'm just pointing that out because that's a color that coordinates with the Boho Beach kit and the Country Woods paper collection that I'm sharing with you today. Now, you can buy Pool Party in cardstock. I can also buy it in a ink pad, and then I can buy it in an ink refill. Now, I haven't invested in any of the ink refills as of yet, but basically I've got an older one here that I had from when I was with Close to My Heart. And all you're going to do with your ink refill is you're just going to pop a little, like I don't need much, right? We don't need to go to town there. I'm going to put a little bit of my ink on there, and then using my palette knife, oh my gosh, I'm mixing that around. And now my shimmery paste is that particular color. All right. Now what we're going to do, think of that like my little craft mat there. I'm actually just going to pop the stencil over the top of the white cardstock here, just to show you. I'm just going to pop some masking tape down there. And I'm going to collect that up. Can you see that there? Okay, I'm going to collect that up off my silicone mat. I actually do really love this silicone mat, okay? I think it's easier to get the texture paste off of as well. And then I'm just going to rub this texture paste over the top of my stencil. So the reason I wanted to share this with you is, regardless of what project you're using, you could take any one of these little ink refills. They're $9.75 each. You could take any one of those ink refills. You could put a little dab of it on top of your shimmery white embossing paste, and then you can coordinate that with 50 of your Stampin' Up! Colors, guys. How awesome is that? Let's lift this off now so you can see that. Oh my gosh, stop. Oh, I love it. How good does that look? Oh my gosh. And look, it's even got like a little bit of an ombre effect. So there's obviously, where I've mixed that around, this bit here was a bit darker and it's come a little bit lighter here. So how cool is that, guys? Using the ink refills, you could take them from any one of your projects, any one of your colors, and use them on your project, which I absolutely love. I think that is fantastic. Now, there is another technique that you can do if you didn't want to buy the little ink refills. I can take one of my classic Stampin' Pads here, and if I just squeeze the Stampin' Pad together before I open this up, I'm going to flip this back, and you can see here where the ink has actually transferred onto the recessed part of my ink pad. Now, how am I going to do this without mixing colors? I didn't actually prepare any scratch paper here, which wasn't very clever. Let's get this excess off because I don't want to mix this around. Oh, I'm just going to get another palette knife. No, that's not what I wanted to show you. Okay, so what I wanted to show you here, now, I wouldn't recommend that you take your embossing paste and put it here into the recessed part, because if I was to close that over, then I could potentially end up with shimmery white embossing paste all on my ink pad, which I don't want to do, okay? So you could get one of your water brushes. I'm just going to grab a water brush. So you could get one of your water brushes, and one technique is where you can pick up the ink from the water brush here. But what I could do is, if I only had the ink pad and I didn't have the ink refill, I could take a little bit of my shimmery paste out, pop it on my silicone mat, and then using my water brush, or maybe even just like a paintbrush. This has got water in it, so I don't know if that's going to be such a great idea. I have to try maybe not to squeeze this out. I can pick this ink up from the inside of my recess bit, pop it on my silicone mat. This is Pretty Peacock, so this is quite dark, so I'm hoping this is going to work, because I haven't actually played with this as of yet. Now, I don't know if you can see that there. You can actually see the glitter and the shimmer paste. I can grab my palette knife and then I can just mix that. So you can see here, you don't really need a lot of the ink at all, okay? So I can mix this here on my silicone mat, and then I'm going to close this over so I don't end up with ink everywhere. Let me pop this. I'm going to turn this around. Let's do the love hearts. I'll just get the stencil here just to show you, and we'll pop this here. So this is Pretty Peacock. Now, obviously this is a dark blue, but by mixing it with the shimmery white embossing paste, you can see that that's come out quite light. So it kind of almost looks like the other blue scenario that I've got happening over here. So I'm just using my palette knife to spread that over the top of my stencil. I'm not worrying about it being too perfect. Boop, ba-doop, ba-doop. Just popping that on like so. And then if I lift that up, oh my gosh, I love it, love it, love it, love it. Looks so cute. So how fun is that? So we've used the silicone mat, we've used the palette knives. You can take any of the stencils that you have to create a textured pattern or border on your scrapbooking page. You could use this technique on your cards as well. And then any of the ink colors are going to work. And then, of course, any of the ink refills as well. So I hope you have enjoyed. Oh, just some tips now. So all I'm going to do with these to clean these off is run them under just some warm water under my tap there, some paper towel just to get that excess off. And then you'll want to scrape the excess off your silicone mat as well and get that off on a paper towel. Take that excess off of here. And then you just want to wipe that down with a clean chucks and some water, and you can get that excess paste off. You would want to do that relatively quickly after you finish doing your embossing, before that dries and gets hard and tacky on your silicone mat. So I hope you have enjoyed learning those techniques today, ladies. I will post our video in our Facebook group, and I'll put all of the links to the products that I've shared with you today. Thank you so much for joining in. I can't wait to see what you create today. I know that we have already done this particular layout, and I did post a different layout for this week's scrapbooking challenge, so you will find that in my Facebook group. I will not be doing a live Technique Tuesday on that particular layout, just for privacy reasons, because it's not just my family in those photos, but you can jump in my private Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton group, and you can see that scrapbooking layout that I have posted this week for the challenge that we are going to do, which is pattern number 19 on pages 42 and 43. Have a fantastic week, ladies, and I look forward to seeing you for next week's Technique Tuesday. Bye for now.